Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Great. Today, we're diving into Truman Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Ooh, a classic.
It is published back in 1958, and listeners wanted to explore this Miss Holiday Golightly.
Yeah, she's quite a character.
She is enigmatic, captivating. I mean, even before we meet her, Capote drops these little hints, right? Miss Holiday Golightly, traveling.
Traveling.
Yeah, midnight adventures, strange books. Like, what are we dealing with here?
Oh, that traveling bit. I think it's more than just her address. It's this, it's like a motif,
Yeah.
Speaks to her being transient. Physically, sure, but emotionally, too.
Almost like she's always searching for something.
We're running from something.
Exactly. And then there's her style.
Oh, yeah, that's something else.
One minute she's all elegance at 21, the next she's dancing under the L.
Total contrast, right. I think Capote did that on purpose. It's not just about wanting to fit in, but like the struggle of self-invention, especially in 1940s New York, appearances were everything.
It's almost like she's playing a role, but which one is the real Holly?
Exactly. Who is she trying to be?
Right. And then there's that scene where she ends up on the narrator's fire escape.
Oh, you mean running from that?
A terrifying man, she says, claims he bites.
Yeah, that's a crucial moment, I think. It shows this vulnerability beneath all that carefully constructed facade.
So she wants safety, connection, but then she shies away from commitment.
It's like a pattern with her, right? Fear of getting tied down.
What do you think she's so afraid of?
I don't know. It could be a lot of things. Maybe it's about control, wanting to have control in a world that often tries to define women by their relationships, especially back then.
Makes sense. And speaking of control, her relationship with Sally Tomato.
Valley Tomato.
Yeah, that darling old man in Sing Sing prison, posing as his niece, delivering messages. It's a bit shady, even for the 1940s.
$100 a week, though.
Yeah.
Even then, that's
Yeah,
like...
risky, right?
What gets me is the ethics of it. Like, what does Holly being okay with this arrangement tell us about her? Our values, What's she willing to do to keep up her lifestyle?
It makes you wonder. And then we've got O.J. Berman.
Her old Hollywood agent.
Yeah, he claims she threw away a shot at stardom, walked out on a big film, but she called it all horseshit on a platter.
Horseshit on a platter, huh?
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Classic Holly. It's like she saw through all that, the wealth, the status.
Rejecting success on someone else's terms.
Exactly. She'd rather be broken free in New York than some Hollywood starlet.
So was it fear of failure or real rejection of the Hollywood system?
Could be both. Like, maybe it's how she protects herself. Statement of self-reliance.
Interesting. And then total shift. She's at the library, completely absorbed in books about Latin America.
What? Out of nowhere.
Yeah, why the sudden interest?
Well, it's still escape, right?
Right.
But instead of parties and men, it's knowledge now.
Like she's taking control not just of now, but of her whole future.
Becoming the author of her own story.
Exactly. And just when we think we're getting a handle on her, boom, Doc Golightly arrives.
No way.
Her husband.
One and only. From Texas. And he blows her whole carefully crafted world apart.
Whoa.
He tells us about her past, about Lula Mae Barnes, a child bride escaping poverty.
Lula Mae. Wow.
It's a far cry from the Miss Golightly we thought we knew.
Think about what he represents, though. Her past. Her lack of control back then. Everything she's running from.
It's like her world's starting to crumble, and she doesn't know how to stop it.
So what happens next? Well, it's kind of sad, isn't it? Like she tries to find comfort in the familiar, but...
It doesn't last.
Right, she's not meant for that, not really. That restlessness kicks in again.
And soon enough, she's got Jose a new plan. Brazil this time.
Always on the move.
It's heartbreaking, she keeps looking for these escapes, relationships, things, far-off places, but nothing seems to stick. Because she's looking in the wrong place, trying to fill some hole inside with stuff from outside.
Yeah.
That's the tragedy of Holly, isn't it?
Always running, but from what? Herself.
Maybe.
But what about that arrest? Came out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, with Sally Tomato.
Suddenly she's in deep with his drug ring, totally shocked by what happened.
It's like she thought the rules didn't apply to her.
That denial. Like a kid who doesn't get how serious things are.
Exactly.
Then the escape, racing to the airport. And that moment she leaves the cat.
Oh, man.
Gets me every time.
Think about what that says, though. She's holding on to that idea of freedom, being alone. But at what cost? The one creature who loved her, no matter what, just gone.
It's powerful. It makes you think about the price of all that chasing after freedom. Is it even real if you've got no responsibility?
Capote was good at that.
Hmm.
He doesn't tell us how to feel about Holly, but he makes us face the messiness of it all, her choices, how they affect others. Do you think she saw it as betrayal
Hmm.
or just being true to herself?
It's tough. She hurt people, that's for sure. But maybe that's what happens when someone's that independent.
Refusing to be defined.
Yeah.
That's what makes her so interesting, even now. This mix of selfish but generous too, charming but destructive. She's a warning, but also like everyone wants that right to break free, make your own rules.
She really is a puzzle. So what happens to her? Brazil. Where'd she go?
We just get a little bit. Last thing is a postcard from Buenos Aires. Still traveling.
Still searching. Capote based her on someone real, but even he said he changed things. So the real Holly, who knows?
Right. That's part of why her story keeps going. It's open to whatever you see in it.
Hmm.
What grabs one person might not mean the same to another, but she makes you think. That's what good stories do.
It's like she was never meant to settle down. So where does all this leave us? What do we take away from our deep dive into Miss Holly Golightly?
It reminds me that, sometimes the most fascinating people are the ones who don't fit neatly into any box.
She really didn't, did she?
Nope. Vulnerable, but ambitious too. Wants connection, but then runs from it.
That back and forth, I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, absolutely. And that whole chasing after freedom thing, it's inspiring. But
Mm.
there's a downside too. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice for it?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Can you have real freedom without any responsibility, without thinking about how your actions affect other people?
Tough one. No easy answer.
Hmm.
But Holly's story, it makes you look at your own life,
Yeah.
what you want and what you're willing to do to get it.
So where do you land on Holly? Warning, inspiration, both?
That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
But if you really want to dig in, check out more Capote stuff, see what you make of her.
Good advice. That's all the time we've got for today's deep dive. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep exploring.